Want to know some more fun facts?
Isn't it awesome to see some of your favorite content creators and favorite people, honestly, that you follow here on this tab, be a part of this amazing community called the Nerd Initiative?
Welcome to Fandoms, a show from every fan's point of view, brought to you by the Nerd Initiative Network. Here's your hosts, Tony and Michael.
How's it going? Well, that is a rough one, but on a positive note, give us the 3 to 5, that's too many, 2 to 3 top highlights from the incredible weekend at Disney. It's so crazy. It's like, yeah, I'm done. Usually it's the other way around too, right? The kids are like, I don't want to stop ever. And he's like, all right, I'm done. I've seen enough to know I've seen too much. Get with the Galaxy's Edge. Now, I'm getting word that you might be muted. My producer's in my ear telling me that she can't hear Tony. So are we having technical difficulties? It wouldn't be a Fandom show without technical difficulties anyway.
Testing. I know you can hear me. I know. Can you all hear us?
I can always hear you. I can hear you in my dreams.
That's kind of creepy, buddy.
Now it's there.
Okay.
All right, we're good. Hold on. Yeah, okay, good. We're good.
All right. Okay, so let's go back to this.
We were talking about Disney.
We went to Disney World this last week. Of course, we were a little bit sick and like lagging. It's like the Disney depression is real. So last time I was there was 36 years ago. I was 3 years old. There's only 2 parks, Epcot and Magic Kingdom. My kid is completely new to the whole amusement park game because, the pandemic. Like, the last thing we did was, like, some stuff at Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. And so, for him, like, this was a big deal. But he was happy with a couple of the rides, and then he'd want to go back to the hotel room. And then, of course, like Saturday was, like, the big thing was, like, Galaxy's Edge and building his droid and getting a lightsaber, which, parents, if you're going, let me just advise you of this real quick. It is, if your kid is, let's say, younger than a teenager and they want to build a lightsaber, do not do the $250 lightsaber building with the kyber crystal and everything else with them. Go to Hollywood Studios right before you get to Galaxy's Edge and go to the gift shop at Star Tours, and there is a kids build your own lightsaber there, and you will save yourself $200. For I think it was like 40 something dollars, you could build a single blade lightsaber. For $10 more, you could get a double bladed lightsaber, which was literally just 2 lightsabers that connect together. So it is so much worth.
We're talking about like the Darth Maul situation. Right?
Yes, and so like my kid's lightsaber is completely impractical because it's the Kylo Ren style blade. So it's like it's like the blade with the two ends, and he's got that on both of his double blade on both of his lightsabers for his double bladed lightsaber. So like I imagine like at some point we're gonna have to change that out. But for the price of it to have two lightsabers they are responsive. Like when you move them and stuff, they make the noise. But they're the old school looking where like if you like go like this, it extends the blade, and they light up and have good sound effects. For a kid, that is perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need to go like if you were like 12 years old or older and you want a blade like a realistic lightsaber, go and do the lightsaber thing in Galaxy's Edge. But parents, go to Star Tours and get your kid one that they can beat up on and do whatever. And it's so much more worth it. And even the ones that they have that have the fixed blades that you can buy of like Kylo Ren and Obi-Wan and Luke Skywalker, those are still cool looking lightsabers for them just to be toys that you're only paying like $40 or $50 for.
That's a helpful tip.
Yeah.
That's a really helpful tip.
And from what I understand, it wasn't a thing for a while. It's just kind of recently come back, but it's neat. So
yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I think like I mean, there are when I went to D23, we did kind of like a decompress, digest dinner, whatever afterwards. And I remember Anthony Quintano, who is also a Nerd Initiative, great guy, great video editor, was telling me, he was like, "Did you see the groups on Facebook that I sent you?" And I was like, "No, what are you talking about?" And he's like, "There's literally groups that will help you navigate through this ridiculous thing." And so it just reminded me of that. Like, that's an incredibly helpful tip for parents, for people in general. Because again, like you said, I would be the guy who walked out with a $250 lightsaber, and I'm sure my kid would break it, even though I don't have a kid. So
yeah, and that's the thing. Like you just have to kind of understand. Yeah, or I would say this: like if you want a replica saber that you're not going to play with or like mess with, go ahead and get it from Disney. But understand, in the realm that we live in now, where there's like NeoPixels and the Xenopixels and all this other stuff, there are the blades that are baselit, that are better for combat, and people actually want to do these things. You would be better off going to these other places and getting their sabers, like Level Up lightsabers. I'm mutuals with them on TikTok. They make kits where you can literally, the guy has shown himself driving over the hilt of his lightsaber and it's still intact. Cool. So like that kind of stuff is better off if you're going to just play with it. But if you want to display something, you have a display piece, go for that. Then do Disney, because that's what they do. It's their licensed stuff, and I get that you would want to do that. And not to mention the droids. The droids are amazing. The whole experience was fun with that.
Yeah.
My kid made a BB-8. He's a 7-year-old, so BB-8-7 is the name of the droid. And we gave it a personality chip. We got the canvas bag. We went the whole 9 yards for that to let him have like all of that, and that was worth it. And like it even has like the canvas bag that comes in it zips open, so you can basically carry it like it's a baby. And it's got a little chain that you can actually clip to the base of the head, because the BB-8 droids are all magnetic, so you don't want to lose the head. So they thought of everything with it, which is pretty cool.
It's like the modern day Tamagotchi.
Yes.
You gotta like, I mean, you don't
and
have.
And with the personality chips, they actually interact with each other.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Well, that sounded like an amazing trip.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you talked about 3. Okay, so I'm just going to touch on a couple more things real quick. Second of all, the lighting lanes is worth it if you're trying to get in to do things. Just understand also, if you have DAS, which is the disability system thing, they don't really explain it very well. If you qualify for DAS and you're looking for information about it, you want it to be explained, reach out to me. My buddy Bibbidi Bobbidi Beard saved us money by explaining it in a way that they didn't. Disney didn't have the chance to really explain it properly. But then Cosmic Rewind was amazing. If you're going, make sure you do the virtual queue early, because they do not have standby lanes for that. You have to go in the app and actually like plan for it, or pay for a spot in the lightning lanes. And I will admit the gift shop is amazing. But a couple of things that they don't really tell you about is I love replica stuff. So like replica badges, like the Nova Corps badge. I've got a Guardian honorary Guardians badge that's on my my sweatshirt that I got from there. And then they have these little data chips, which are bounties for different MCU villains. Like this one's Hela.
Cool.
I've got Red Skull, Ronin, Ultron, Loki, Thanos, and Taskmaster. But then my favorite thing...
Literally, wait, hold on. Really quickly, name those again. Hela, Loki.
Yeah, let me go through it real quick here. We've got Hela, Red Skull, Ronin, Loki, Thanos, and Ultron and Taskmaster.
Okay, so only in the main MCU continuity, only one of those villains is still alive, right? Taskmaster. When you were saying it, I was like, they're all dead.
Well, technically, Red Skull's not dead.
Oh yeah, he's transformed into
The Keeper of Vormir.
The Stone Keeper, yeah.
And we don't know about Hela for sure. She could just be, in her place.
Very true. Very true.
Ultron. There was an activated head in Damage Control's facility when Spider-Man was going through. But then I will say the other thing is these cool Xandar currencies, like the units from the Guardians of the Galaxy. I love stuff like this, and so like that. These are $3. These are $3.99 a piece, or if you bought 4 or more, they were $3. I would buy like $30 worth of these if I could, because I just love having this kind of stuff laying around. Which in turn, I'm actually giving one away on the watch party with Streamlash, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But yeah,
awesome.
Yeah,
sounds like. I mean, I'm getting kind of jealous. I got a little FOMO.
Oh, I'm telling you, it was fun. It was overwhelming. There is a lot of Marvel merchandise that you can get there. But I will tell you, if you're even going down.
Wait. The Iron Man. I saw that when we went to I don't know if it was D23 or the last time we were at Disney was D23. It's like an $8,000 replica, right? That's like life size. I saw you posted a photo of that. Like that's insane.
Oh yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. They didn't have a price tag on it, but I'm pretty sure it was like within what was it, like between $3,000 to $10,000?
Yeah, when we went, it greeted you in Disneyland, which is the one in California. It's a lot smaller. There was kind of like this warehouse type thing that we went to, like in between going the rides and other things, and it was this huge shop, really cool. And they actually had the real Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel from Avengers Con, the one where she's like flying up and like that thing. So they had that prop there, the actual prop from the show. It was this gigantic warehouse, but it was like $8,500 for this, like very similar to the one that you posted a photo of, like an actual replica of like the Mark whatever of Iron Man, and it's just nuts, but incredibly cool too.
Well, let me just say this: of all of the merchandise that they had there, one thing, like there's always that one thing you see that you're just like, if only I had the money for it. And this, I don't know if you saw this when you were at D23 or this is a relatively new thing. Have you seen this leather jacket?
No, what is that?
This is a Marvel leather jacket, which it is beautiful. I mean, it's got a little logo down there at the end, but the inside makes it so worthwhile. I mean, like when you're just like wearing it.
Oh, that's cool.
It's on sale right now on Shop Disney. You don't have to go to Disney World to get this, but it's on Shop Disney. It's $279. It was $399 when we were there. And it makes me so mad that it's $279 because I would so buy that if I had.
It's funny because heroes and villains, I keep getting hit. I mean, man, the Instagram algorithm just gets better and better day by day, in trying to get you to buy stuff. And so I think it's heroes and villains. I don't think I follow them, so I'm trying to look it up right now. But they have this gorgeous Spider-Man bomber jacket.
Okay.
and I'm trying to pull it up now.
And I will say this
tempting me.
They have a lot of like Spider-Man anniversary items, like clothing and stuff at the
that's what it is. Like, so you're the inside of that leather jacket that you were showing had like 1939, which is obviously when Marvel first started, and so the Spider-Man one has like, and you couldn't tell. That's kind of cool. They're doing a lot of stuff that you wouldn't know is in your face. Like I have a bunch of stuff like jackets that are like literally Thanos, huge things with Thanos and Spider-Man and whatever. They're doing a lot of stuff that's kind of like on the borderline between fashion and Marvel, and it's very smart. And so like the bomber jacket, it's kind of like a red with like white. It's gorgeous. I'm trying to pull it up, but I can't find it. But and it says like 1962 or 62. And it has like, and so it says like SM weaved in. Really, really cool. And it's on sale for like $99. And they keep, it's funny. And I'm telling you, Instagram knows what it's doing, and they can, oh, here it is. I got it. They keep showing it to me as I scroll through Instagram, and it's just a stunning jacket.
Oh, nice.
You can see that. Yeah. And so looks kind of just like a varsity bomber jacket. Little Spider-Man on the back that says established 1962. Very cool. So, I mean, Marvel's really, they're just, the licensing game they have is on point right now. And
here it is. Here you go.
Yeah,
Make it a little more
super cool. I
go.
keep seeing it. And I'm like, yeah, very, very cool.
I like the patch on the arm. That is cool.
Something very new, very different, and they are really straddling the line between, fandom and fashion. And I think like Straw Hat and Megs and stuff had at NYCC had some really cool those Black Panther jackets.
Oh yeah, with Culture Fly.
Oh, those were gorgeous. I mean, I saw those in person. I mean, everyone had. Jordan had one. I mean, they were beautifully done. And so you're really seeing a lot of stuff that you don't have to, much like movies and Marvel right now. It's really crossing the line of into mainstream. And so,
well, it's like Ruggable. Ruggable has those Marvel rugs and Star Wars rugs that if you're looking from a distance, they just look like really nice pattern rugs, and the closer you look, you're like, oh, those are X-Wings, or oh, that's Spider-Man. I love that stuff. Like I promise you, whenever we break the bank and we're in the money, like my house is gonna be so much subtly Marble, it's not even gonna be funny.
Yeah. Well, the shirt you're wearing right now, Roosevelt.
Oh yeah, Roosevelt's. Yeah, they hooked us up.
Roosevelt does it so well. There's some stuff. I mean, I just got. We obviously love Roosevelt's. But I got. They had a big, Black Friday sale, and so I got a couple like funny shirts that are like, you look at them, they're crazy. But then there's also ones that are really cool, like the one you're wearing, and then I have a Spider-Man one that's got like heads, but you can't tell it's the little Spider-Man mask unless you go up close. But then there's also stuff that like is stuff for goofballs like us. I got one that has Vin Diesel's face all across it, and it's the 10-second car shirt. And I just can't wait to wear that one.
So for a buddy one year.
Family.
For a buddy one year for Christmas, I bought him this this pillowcase. It was a throw pillow that I got off of Wish, and I gave it to him, and it was all sequins, and he's like, "Why would you buy me a red sequins pillowcase?" I'm like, no, and I made him like run his hand on the sequins, and as soon as he did, it was like a big old shot of Nicolas Cage's face, and it was so much fun. Like it was just like how random
that's the pillow. So that's the pillow that's in. Have you seen that movie? It's the weight of insurmountable talent. I
bought it like 3 or 4 years ago, so it was way before that.
So in that movie, and I think we've talked about this in the past, but in the Nicolas Cage movie, I got to look it up. But
Nicolas Cage playing Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, Pedro in that movie, Pedro Pascal is a huge. His character is a gigantic Nicolas Cage fan. And so he walks him into this room in his like compound, and it's all like Nicolas Cage like merchant, like the bunny from Con Air.
Yeah.
There's like a full wax, but there's also that pillow is there, and like I think at that time he looks at Pedro's character and he's like, why? And it's like
why not?
I love that. Yeah, I
No,
love
it's
that.
just it's a perfect pillow. Okay, so we're talking a lot about Disney merch and everything else. Let's kind of go ahead and get a little bit focused here. But speaking of all of that stuff, I completely forgot what I was about to say, and so goodbye. The show is over. I can't think of
Cool,
any.
we're done.
No, but no.
Happy Friday
So
night.
there's a lot of stuff going on. We'll just go ahead and jump into what I can think off the top of my head. We haven't talked much since Thanksgiving, but one of the big things that has changed when it comes to Disney Studios, I guess with Marvel, it just kind of touches everything within the majority of the properties because Disney owns almost everything now. Bob Iger is back as CEO, much to the joy of many people. Some people, it's their chagrin, because I think there's still a little bit of frustrations because a lot of the layoffs that took place happened or started with Bob Iger. And it was we know it was because of the pandemic and everything else. But we've got Bob Iger back after Chapek, and we all. And I'm gonna be negative for a second. I know we always try to keep positive and stuff, but I have never liked Bob Chapek, and what has come out in the recent weeks since he has been removed makes me understand that I need to go with my intuition about people more often.
Yeah.
The dude was not only was he problematic when it came to calling Shang-Chi an experiment, and being completely culturally insensitive, not responding to what was going on in Florida at the time, and everything else. But we now know that he was cooking the books when it came to Disney Plus. So what are your thoughts, Michael?
Man, there's two trains of thought here, right? One, I grew up a huge sports fan, and so with that in mind, I always know that after a Dean Smith, or he's still coaching up, but Coach K, or the list goes on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
After you come in from an iconic leader, you just don't want to be that guy. It's so hard to it's so hard to be that guy, and so that's without the emotion that's plugged in. So it's just a really tough role to come into, and I think Bob Iger clearly is one of the iconic leaders around, but more importantly of Disney. And he is just a guy who 100% made Disney what it is modern wise, what it is today. On the other end, yeah, I'm not surprised about the cooking the books situation. I think we have a problem, I think in this country, but I think in general, there is a lack of accountability for these big major corporations. And I'm going to sound like a grandpa right now or whatever, but it just is what it is. But there's a lack of accountability, and I think people are really fudging the numbers, and they're just putting out. There's just no. I think, the fake news era has hit us, and I think people feel free and feel comfortable to lie, make stuff up, and it's really unfortunate. And then when it comes to the insensitivity, I'm just floored. But again, not surprised, which is sad too. So I think, I think hopefully we will get to a point at some point where we have leaders that understand not only the good business sense it is to be inclusive and to understand what these projects mean to people, but also realizes that it's just being a good, normal human being, and not being, so I think, look, Iger is going to be a nice stopgap to come in and right the ship. And then they're going to have to really find a well-respected, solid, great person to take over. And I will correct myself from my first argument just a little bit. One of the few ones we've seen in recent history to take over, I think Tim Cook has been really great at Apple. I can't really, again, there's these huge corporations, nothing's perfect, but he has really been pretty solid over there, taking over for the late Steve Jobs. So that's a good one. But I think most of the time when you take over for icons, it's just a job you don't want to have.
Yeah, but that still doesn't, I mean, so here's the thing. When Chapek first came in, Iger was supposed to be on as a consultant role to be able to help him through, and he refused that assistance. Chapek already had a chip on his shoulder when he came into the industry. And I'm not even talking being an insider. I'm talking from what I've observed and what has been reported. So it's not like it's not even common knowledge. And so, like, Bob Iger was just taking a paycheck without not giving any consultation toward anything when it came to, the running of the company. And honestly, I just never, and I mean, just like as a parent going to Disney, to Disney World, like I can tell you right now, the prices from when we first got everything set up to the prices after, because like my mom, we brought my mom in to go with us, and we did 2 days, and then I was like, you know what, we'll just go ahead and see what it is to do the 3 days, so she's not sitting out if she doesn't want to, and it was almost like the prices went up by like almost 100%. And that's unfortunate, because even like the Lightning Lanes and the Genie Plus and all this stuff that was incorporated, all it is to make people spend more money. And what was already a prohibitively expensive, trip, if it wasn't for the fact that, we were given this trip, it would have been even worse. Like I already had it set in my head, we weren't gonna go to Disney until like I had the money back in like in 2025. That was when we were projecting. And then this trip was given to us, and then we go there, and even with being all of it paid for, it was still so expensive. Like I kid you not. Like here, give you an idea. When we got there, we were trying to check in. They tried to check us in early. They couldn't. We ended up not getting checked in until like 30 or 40 minutes after we should have been checked in. And like we were, we were completely understanding about it. We're like, there are things that we can do. And of course, then the cast member, kind of sprinkled a little bit of magic on us, and or the pixie dust or whatever they call it. They gave us a voucher for us to go have lunch. Now, for 4 of us, one of us being a kid, to have a meal each person with fountain drinks, $81.
It's crazy. And I mean, I will say this, like when we went in, so when was D23 at this point? September?
September.
September. I was very underwhelmed with Disneyland, and Disneyland is a lot smaller than Disney World. The crowds, the lines. We went to Galaxy's Edge. We did not get to go to Galaxy's Edge because it was broken down. And we had paid for the lightning round, so that's money we were out. And just the experience, again, like for me, I'm an experienced person, so I don't mind if it's a really great experience and it's expensive, and if I walk away with a memory that's amazing, I think I'm okay with that stuff. For me, it's like kind of like when nothing is going right, and they were very understaffed. You could see that like it just was I was very underwhelmed, and to your point, they're just trying to make money and they're trying to get by. And I think we're in an era where I think a lot of people don't want to do the jobs that make these companies run. And so we've seen, we've talked about the Great Resignation currently post-COVID. So you have a lot of these big companies, and it's across the board. Don't get me started on airline travel, but I just think there's a lot less people and staff running these places, and so you get a really rough experience, and it's not like it's free or cheap. And so I don't know what you do, but it's a problem across the board, and hopefully there's some corrections that can be made. Disney is very unique in the sense that it's a unique experience, even though there is Universal Studios, so there's a counterpart. But I mean, look at movie theaters. Movie theaters are one of the biggest markups and one of the most expensive things when it comes to like concessions, and now with streaming, and then also with, and again, I talk about experience a lot when I talk about business and things like that. You have these places that are just a little bit more expensive that you can sit and eat dinner while you watch a movie in a comfortable spot, and you have your seat. And that little upgrade, I think, has been a problem for these smaller theaters. Like, I mean, not just for these bigger theaters that now have to rush to kind of create that similar experience. And so the old chairs that we used to sit in that would fall apart are mostly gone, and there's leather recliners now. And
the touch controls don't even work half the time.
Yeah, and so I think that, I mean, we'll see what happens with Universal and some other experiences that are out there. If someone steps up their game, people, you know, Disney is an iconic legacy thing that's been around forever, so that's tougher. But I'm sure 5 years ago, people were like, no, people are never going to stop going to movie theaters. And obviously we had a pandemic, but even before that, I think AMC and other places, you know, we talk about GameStop and that whole situation. I think you gotta update with the times. And so I really hope Disney does things to make it a better experience for people, because these are families, and we looked around when we were at Disney, and these are families that are, like you said, they're putting a lot of their money and effort and time to go and show their kids this magical experience. And I just hope that they, you know, take that to heart and not be like, hey, just pack them in, let them go ride on some rides. And the waits are nuts. And you know, we didn't go on a lot of rides at Disneyland because the waits were over 90 minutes for almost everything. And we were like, all right, we're not going to sit here for 2 hours because we had stuff to do. We had D23. And so I really hope there's some kind of change, but you know, it's going to take a while, and it's got something big's going to have to happen to kind of course correct this whole situation.
Yeah. And I will tell you, like, going to Disney World as a person that hadn't been there for years, if we ever go back again, which we want to go back again, we will do so many different things differently. There are some things that we did that were vital to our existence, like getting a Walmart delivery to the hotel room the day that we got there, so that we didn't have to worry about food every single time.
That's smart.
You know, doing those kind of things made a big difference. And you know, it was cheaper for us to Uber to go to like Golden Corral and eat dinner one night than, you know, buying a bunch of stuff. And I cannot tell you how much chicken we ended up eating. It's like New York Comic Con all over again.
Yeah.
Like you cannot go wrong when it's chicken strips and French fries, my friend. It's just, you know, it's like, it's always like the more cost effective meal out of everything. But
I will say, the last thing I will say about it, and you made a really good point earlier, is, and this is the whole thing with New York Comic Con, which was kind of a train wreck too. You had a great experience, and there was parts when we were hanging out I had a great experience. But everything that was set up and organized by the organizers was an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's same with Disney. You mentioned which is a great microcosm of the point that I'm trying to make. You brought up that lightsaber, that you know, you can get this if you're going for a kid, you can get a $50 lightsaber, and it's going to be just as memorable for him than his $250 one. We talked about, you know, the D23, the Facebook groups that my friend tried to tell me to navigate it. And then, you know, we also do on our end for Nerd Initiative a lot of like these stories about what to look for, the pros and cons of these conventions, which next year with New York Comic Con, I will not step foot on the celebrity autograph floor because it's a nightmare. I will be at Artist Alley.
You just wait. Just see who's going to be there. You
sure.
Don't make promises.
I'll be at Artist Alley. I will be at the main floor. We'll be going to the fun stuff, and I'm not going to lose 2-3 hours of a great experience. But think about what's the common thread of all those things. The onus is on the event goer to do the research and learn how to navigate it. And that's sad that you can't trust these big organizations to, you know, to do right by you. And so no matter what you do, and I see all these conventions and things, and you were saying like the lightning rounds, when you go to conventions, we're going to C2E2 next year, and, you know, New York Comic Con, same thing. There's always like a regular general entry, and there's a VIP, and then there's someone that have another level and another level, and then like there was one that was, I think it was like $1,000 for like one day for like the highest level of some convention. I was like, what do you get? Do I get to sit with Mark Hamill and just hang out and have lunch?
Yeah.
Like, and I think I will say, like, I've been underwhelmed by some of those things. And like for D23, I got the preferred passes, which give you access to the main panels and stuff. But aside from that, it's such an added cost. It's kind of silly.
It's kind of like some of these conventions, like I didn't see this in New York Comic Con, but like Awesome Con had where you could buy basically jump tickets. If you remember, Rebecca and I won the trip and everything with the hotel room and everything, and it gave us 2 tickets for autographs and 2 tickets for photo ops that we could jump the line. And because you remember when you guys joined us for the photo op, we didn't wait. We just kind of went up there and we were like, we had enough time to like say, okay, we're all together and what are we going to do? And then we were caught off guard with how fast it was. And like when she got her autograph, we didn't wait. We stood, we probably had maybe 3 people in front of us that were in jumping the line too. And those made a big difference. And so like, I know for like AwesomeCon in DC, they do have the Awesome Club, which is that $1,000 or $1,500, thing, which it gives you like so many jumps for like photo ops and for autographs and whatever. So those, for some people, that experience is worth it because then they get in and do what they want, and they can enjoy everything else. Because remember, we weren't in line for anything at AwesomeCon. We just kind of went around and did our thing, and it was a fantastic event. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. Like, there needs to be a place, and maybe that's what Nerd Initiative will need to become at some point. Is a resource for people when they're playing. It's like you have like trip planners and stuff like that, but like individuals, like I can tell you right now, when I started selling my own art in conventions, I went on YouTube and tried to find every video I could on setting up an artist alley booth, and none of them really helped until I did my first one. And then once I did my first one, it made more sense. And then the advice that you get from the people around you was better. I mean, literally, I was selling vinyl clocks, vinyl record clocks that I spray painted. I built them all in advance. And so we had boxes. We had like 12 large boxes full of these clocks. And then all of a sudden I realized I don't need them all built. So I actually took them apart at the convention, and it all came down to like 2 boxes. And so we had room for like those little things that you don't think about. And that's really what it's about. But regardless, we're kind of going on. We can talk about this for hours.
Seriously.
And maybe that's what we're going to need to do. We need to do like a either a show or like a recorded video where it's talking about navigating these things. And if you guys are feeling like that, then please, in the comments on the YouTube video after it's been posted, please give your suggestions of what you would like us to talk about, what you would like us to touch on, because I feel like one of the biggest things that we can do as a resource with Nerd Initiative is provide a navigating tool for the thing. Like, there are people who have never been to a convention that don't know the first thing about it and do not realize the first thing I would tell you to bring to a convention is a pair of comfy shoes that you've already had broken in.
Yeah.
Do not bring new shoes to a convention. I'm just saying it. So like, there's lots of suggestions.
If they allow food inside, bring snacks that can keep you going. And, and don't over. I mean, again, my one tip would be don't over plan. Always go in there with a couple of things you want to do, and if you can do things more than those couple of things, it's all gravy. But that was my mistake at NYCC. It was like, we're gonna get all this stuff down, and it's a grind. So do a couple of things and then enjoy the ambiance and the atmosphere.
Like I would say with Disney World, bring a picnic. Do not buy the food in the park unless you really want that experience, which you're better a person than I am. You can pack a lunch in a backpack and pull it out and sit by the water or do whatever and just eat, and they're not going to stop you. They're okay with it, so Okay, so we've talked about Chapek. Let's also talk about a new passing of the baton that kind of came out after our last show, and that is with the Gunn Safran takeover for DC Studios. Zaslav has appointed new leadership for the DC movies. Recently, the Hollywood Reporter has posted that a couple things have been nixed since the changeover, with specifically
a lot of things.
Yeah, well, and again, I say reportedly because the Hollywood Reporter came out with this, and then immediately James Gunn responded and said, some of it's true, some of it's not true, some of it we haven't even met with to talk about whether it's true or not. So it's still very much up in the air, but I think a lot of people need to realize when they gave new leadership to DC Studios, a lot of stuff was going to change and going to stop, and we needed to expect that. I do think it's kind of funny how you had, and this is where a discussion kind of can take place as well. Black Adam did not do well in the box office, and in the sense of that it did not recuperate its money. Not only was the film budgeted big, but they marketed it big. And unfortunately, the the powerhouse that is the Rock, Dwayne Johnson, who normally everybody always comes out for him. It didn't work this time. They still made a lot of money, but that money has to go into breaking even. So,
I'm looking it up right now. We're looking at 385 million worldwide, and if for a modern day movie, that's
385 million would be great if the budget wasn't $500+ million.
Yeah.
And we're talking about $500 million for the budget. Then add on to that the marketing budget that they did for this thing, and they did a large marketing budget. I mean, think of it this way: if you were at San Diego Comic-Con and you were in Hall H, when they were doing their thing, they literally had badges with Black Adam's logo on it that at a certain point they were radio activated to light up at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
Plus, like TV spots and commercials, and yeah, I mean, I was when you started talking about it, we're one of the same mind. Who would have thought how important Black Adam was to the future of, like, as far as like to the path, right? The fork diverging, right? And so we had the Cavill cameo at the end, and now reports are that Man of Steel 2 has been scrapped, and so talk about, like, this is jokes aside, talk about lightning quick as far as like it's gonna happen, it's not gonna happen. And there's a bunch of other stuff that's been coming out, the Michael Keaton Batman Beyond film that I've seen everywhere the last couple of days that was scrapped.
Wonder Woman 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I didn't think 84 was that great to begin with at all. And I don't know if we'll keep some of the actors and actresses or we won't.
Right, and I think that's the thing to point out, that they're talking about canceling these film projects. It doesn't mean that they're ending their relationship with the actors and actresses that have been a part of this.
Yeah.
Because I honestly feel Gal Gadot has the ability to still continue on as Wonder Woman. I just think
she's
that,
also an inspiration. Like, what she's done, she's been great. I actually think, I mean, again, The Rock, fantastic human being and makes so much impact. So maybe they could slot him in the future. And I know,
like, bring him in with Shazam.
And you got Cavill, like, just in and out, like, and so we'll see what happens with that. And then again, correct me and apologies if I missed this. Please tell me have we seen an official cancellation of The Flash? Is it done?
No.
Please tell me it's done.
No, there is a
What are you doing?
So there's a posting of the films for 2023. Flash was on there still, Aquaman 2, Shazam, Fury of the Gods. So we're still going, and honestly, give it some time. I
think Gunn will do what's right.
Here's the thing though. I don't think Gunn has a choice in this matter. I think that with the amount of money that they've spent and what they're planning on doing in that film, I don't think they may have said you can do everything, but this film is coming out regardless.
I just don't think you can put an alleged, and I stress alleged. You can't put out a movie in this day and age with an alleged, child groomer. Like, it just, and among whatever things he's accused of, again, alleged. Save the show, please. Alleged. I'm out of words. Like, this is nuts. Cancel the friggin' movie.
Yeah,
that's all I gotta say. It's done and done. Like, Is Harvey Weinstein going to come back to be producing now? Like, what is going on? Like,
you went there. I get what you're saying. Like, there's so many problems. Like, I even understand, like, them not getting rid of Aquaman 2 with Amber Heard and stuff, because regardless, there are people that have different views on both sides. Her in that film is a better bet than Ezra Miller in The Flash. That's just obvious.
Much
like,
better.
There's just too much.
Of Ezra Miller from a couple years ago, and again, I don't know how it slipped under the rug, and I don't know how I missed it, where he's like choking out a woman, and so it's like, how is this like, he's literally, it's clearly video, and I think I started doing, diving into the rabbit hole and looking up, and I must have missed it when it happened, and whatever, and he apologized for it. So he came out and basically admitted to doing it, again, allegedly, and we want to say deep fakes and all this stuff and whatever, and yada yada. I don't want to get into all that, But even just that, like the fact that there wasn't an outright denial, and I think he did something to make amends or whatever. But still, these are atrocious things that, like, full stop.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on?
So I think I'm on the same page with you. I think with Ezra Miller, what they're doing is definitely problematic for the studio. It's problematic for the franchise. I don't know. I would say if the Flash is still in there, and with Ezra Miller being, what they are at this point, it is not going to be in James Gunn's hands. I think that this would be, if the film does proceed, I think Gunn and Safran are going to do whatever they can to distance themselves from it, because it's basically the last thing that the previous management or previous leadership had to do with it. I just feel that way. I feel like we have to also understand that with two individuals that are trying to piece together. And then here's the thing: I love DC. Like, I know my name is Mr. Marvelite and everything. The Death of Superman comic is what got me into comic books and what got me into the fandoms. And then when I was, not really into the stuff, and I thought I had grown up and I was, going beyond things, then Smallville came out, and then that became my life, and I just enjoyed Smallville so much, which got me back into the comic book fandom and everything. So by all means, I love DC, and I love DC for what it is. It has been very problematic as of late, and it has struggled, and I want to see it succeed. And even everybody talks about, like, oh, it's the rivalry between DC and Marvel. Feige wants DC to succeed.
Yeah.
If there are more comic book, if there are more superhero films that can only do well for the genre, and then at the same time, Feige has expressed his interest that he would love to do a Marvel versus DC thing, and I really feel like Gunn and Safran could bring this together. Where DC is, it's always been about, because here's the thing: if you want to say Marvel is crap, the stuff that you complain about Marvel for was typically written by people that are writing and illustrating DC at the moment. Yeah, because they go back and forth. It's like soap operas. It's just like they regurgitate the same thing over and over again. Yeah. And so these guys go back and forth. So you really can't hate one or the other. But hopefully with their plan, and it's going to take time. We're not going to see the new DC in the next year. It might not even be the next 2 or 3 years.
We'll have to do it the right way.
Exactly.
And I mean, they better not cancel Peacemaker. Great show. So that better continue. And I feel like it will. I mean, that's under obviously clearly in the James Gunn, collection and wheelhouse. So I think that's going to be, again,
now the rumors about who's Aquaman, who's playing Aquaman, Jason Momoa. The rumors about him moving over to be Lobo. Have you heard of this?
No, that's interesting.
So possibly after Aquaman 2, they're going to reboot Aquaman, and Jason Momoa has always wanted to be Lobo. And so there is rumor that, because what happened was James Gunn posted a picture of Lobo right after he was announced to be, co-head of DC Studios, and Momoa was being interviewed and said, "What did you think about Gunn posting a picture of Lobo in reference to a movie in the future?" And he freaked out because he hadn't seen it. And so there is rumor that, because Momoa has always wanted to be Lobo, and I think it would be a great Lobo. Yeah, I thought he was a great Aquaman.
If Chris Evans can go from Human Torch to being the Captain America that we saw, and the one that, like, obviously is implanted and has had the impact in film as much as he has, like, anything's possible. I think that isn't. I mean, look, geez. I mean, think about the fact that we had Josh Brolin was Thanos and Cable at the same time, essentially. So,
yeah. Oh, that made it so much fun when Deadpool was making comments about.
Yeah, I think, look, it's all part of the fun. You got to suspend reality, and so if he wants to do it, I think I like Jason Momoa. I think he is one of those guys that, like, just brings a certain energy to a project, and so yeah, sure, let him do it. Great.
So let's go ahead and take a break real quick from this. And one of the things that we're doing for the holiday season is some of our Nerd Initiative members are pitted against each other in promoting their favorite holiday movie for, I guess, supremacy for 2022. We're gonna be doing more. In fact, just to kind of give you guys an idea, we will be having a hashtag through TikTok that will be, and I guess through Instagram we can do it as well, which is hashtag Nerd Holiday Battle. And if you want to get in on this and have your favorite holiday movie suggested for people to vote on, we will be opening an actual poll on December 20th that will go from the 20th to the 24th, and then we'll make the 20th to the 22nd, and then on our next Nerd Initiative show we will promote and we will talk about the winner of the polls. Post your video or your Instagram story or whatever it is with your reasons why your favorite holiday movie is should be considered the best for 2022, and as many arguments as possible. If somebody else has already argued it, that's fine. That's just more compelling arguments that you can give and support. But we're gonna make it fun, and then we're gonna we'll award, I guess, the movie supremacy for 2022, and I think we'll make this a yearly thing. As long as we're around.
You can even let's throw in a nice little giveaway too, and we have a little incentive for the winner. We'll get a nice little giveaway.
I guess for whichever movie wins as the best holiday movie, and anybody who uses the hashtag, the person with the most views on that movie that used the hashtag, I guess, could be the winner at that point.
Perfect.
So so we could do it that way. So promoting your videos and everything else would work well. But we're gonna go ahead and start off with Pooja. Pooja is promoting her favorite holiday movie, and here it is.
Hello, my name is Pooja, and I am here to campaign for The Polar Express as one of the best go-to Christmas movies of all time. Robert Zemeckis' The Polar Express is based off the children's book of the same name by Chris Van Allsburg, as it follows a young boy who has lost his faith in Santa and the spirit of Christmas until he's invited onto a strange yet magical train headed toward the North Pole on Christmas Eve. The Polar Express showcases Zemeckis' fine talent for bringing adventurous stories to life. With its gorgeous animation, unique and relatable characters, and magnificent soundtrack, it's a movie I can never skip out on during the holiday season. There's a sense of joy and wonder, as well as the hope that we all need during the holidays, no matter what age we are. We all suffer from a loss of faith in one way or another, no matter what it is, and the Polar Express explores that through the use of the Christmas spirit and the mystery surrounding Santa Claus. Is it all fake or simply about materialism, or is there something so much more to it than that? Ultimately, the movie is a reminder to soak in the magic and spirit of the holidays as best as one can with the ones that we care about, and it's a journey that I never grow tired of watching year after year.
I didn't push the button hard enough to come back. I'm sitting there going, why is it not working? So Polar Express, man, it's crazy to think how old that movie is now.
I know.
My wife and I we just became a couple. We just became boyfriend and girlfriend at the time. That was the first Christmas. So that is 17 years old. Actually, it was 18 years old. Because I think it came out the year before we became a couple. And then, of course, for whatever reason, that was like the movie where the movies didn't come out until almost a year after, especially holiday movies. So,
well, given that I'm 21 now, so I was 4 or 5 years old when that came out. That's it's a really great childhood memory for me.
Making me feel old, even though I know that's not the case.
That's not the case.
Yeah, but it's hilarious. No, it's really funny. My 7-year-old, he's like, Dad, let me explain to you this game Minecraft, and I'm like, buddy, I was playing Minecraft before you even were a thought.
Yeah.
So
have you heard of a game called Doom? It's really great.
Oh my goodness! I was just thinking about you. Do you still remember the G code?
Oh, for Contra or no?
No, for Doom.
I was thinking up, down, down, left, right.
Maybe that also worked for Sega Genesis Sonic 2. You could actually.
Oh really?
Yeah, it did for a while. Yeah. No, but it was like it's crazy just thinking about those games. Okay, so So yeah, Polar Express, very cool. Robert Zemeckis, I
Great
think,
movie.
is the director. Yeah, it's something we watch all the time. In fact, we still have the ticket that goes up on our Christmas tree. And we have
Seriously?
the bell. We have the bell. Yeah, it still rings for
Oh,
us.
wow.
Yeah. But then Derek, Paperweight Entertainment, also has his suggestion for the supreme holiday film of 2022. So let's go ahead and let Derek give his arguments.
Hey, this is Derek from Paperweight Entertainment, and I'm here to tell you why National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is the greatest go-to Christmas movie of all time. Christmas Vacation is marketed as a fun slapstick comedy, but at its heart, it is really the story of a man desperately clinging to the hope that he can give his family the best Christmas that they've ever had. Christmas Vacation is filled to the brim with great slapstick comedy, laugh out loud moments, infinitely quotable lines, and one of the greatest opening songs in all of cinema history. On top of all of that, it is wrapped up in a beautiful, tear-inducing moment of understanding of what the true meaning of Christmas really is and why the holiday is so important. Put simply, Christmas Vacation is one for the ages, and it stands above the pack of mediocre Christmas movies that come out year after year trying to vie for that top spot. But make no mistake, Christmas Vacation is the greatest go-to Christmas movie of all time.
All right, so National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Which is actually my wife's favorite Christmas movie.
That's cool.
I got her, so I don't have it in here, which is annoying, but I should have been planned better. That's my fault. I got her a Chevy Chase signed Funko for, I guess, Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever you want it to be. I celebrate both. So yeah, she has it in her office, just sitting on her desk.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got one more for this week. So we'll be seeing more, I guess, on Instagram and TikTok. But this one's from Mickey. Mickey is promoting Scrooged.
Guys, Cell Phone Wallet Keys here telling you why Scrooge should be your Nerd Initiative holiday movie. There is nothing that can get me in the Christmas spirit more than any adaptation of A Christmas Carol. Put that story in the hands of director Richard Donner. We're talking Superman, we're talking Lethal Weapon, we're talking The Omen, we're talking The Goonies. It's a great modern adaptation of the story starring Bill Murray, Karen Allen, Alfre Woodard, and Bobcat Goldthwait. Bobcat Goldthwait. And don't forget the best interpretation of the Ghost of Christmas Present played by the legendary Carole King. On top of all of that, you have jaw-dropping special effects, and the cherry on top, a soundtrack composed by Danny Elfman. It's a great all-around movie that brings in elements from horror, drama, comedy. I think it's Bill Murray's best role and one of Richard Donner's best movies, all time. You're probably saying to yourself, there's a lot of holiday movies that have all of those elements, but there's one thing that pushes this movie above the rest, and that is Bill Murray's monologue at the end of the film.
If you believe in this spirit thing, the miracle will happen, and then you'll want it to happen again tomorrow. You won't be one of these bastards who says Christmas is once a year and it's a fraud. It's not. It can happen every day. You just gotta want that feeling.
So be sure to vote for Scrooge, Cell Phone Wallet Keys approved, holiday movie.
Yeah, that movie is impressive. Like
That's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. Terrifying at some points. I remember being a kid and watching that, and when he walked in the elevator and he opened up the cloak of the Ghost of Christmas Future, like they went dark there for a second, which I mean it always was meant to be dark. But okay, so we had three things suggested. Michael, what would be your recommendation for best?
So I'm gonna cheat a little bit because I know some folks have certain movies coming up, so I won't be taking theirs. I'm gonna go with a nice little MCU tie-in, A Christmas Story, classic, shot his eye out. Peter Billingsley, who is one of the executive producers of 2008's Iron Man, and we all know him as the nice bald doctor who Obadiah is screaming at, and then we saw him again in Spider-Man.
He belted in a cave with a box of scraps.
You know my dream. Who I forgot who those guys are. They're on TikTok that go into every theater for every new Marvel movie, and they scream like they'll say like, Tony Stark built Shang-Chi in a cave with a box of scraps, and they just walk right out of the theater. And I don't know if they actually do that, but aside from all the fear that we have in, obviously current life and stuff happening. I want that to happen in a theater that I'm in on opening night. Is that guy? I forgot the guy's name on TikTok. He's great. Walk into my theater, scream, and just walk right out. Because that is whatever. But so yeah, Christmas.
Setting the bar a little
Very
there.
weird tangent. My fantastical brain got all nuts. But yeah, Christmas Story, love it. I do think the person he shot his eye out was Nick Fury. I'm not going with the cat. But great movie. Can watch it every year. Fantastic.
I'm going to go ahead and go with one that someone in Nerd Initiative was going to do a promotion for, but they didn't have a chance to do the video. They can still do the video, but I'm going to go ahead and say this because it is a Christmas movie, and that's Die Hard. Die Hard is my quintessential Christmas movie, and of course, after watching Die Hard, you have to watch Die Hard 2 because they both take place at Christmas time. And of course, I think Die Hard 2
is a lot worse.
Yeah, but Die Hard 2 is a lot worse, but at the same time, it's kind of close to my heart because I live in Northern Virginia, and so Dulles Airport being the airport that they're at kind of rings true because I can tell you right now it looks nothing like that, but still the fact that they're referencing Dulles just it warms my heart.
I want to get this right. Hold on. Because I agree with you 100% that Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and having interviewed Jeb Stewart myself, who was the screenwriter for Die Hard 5-6 years ago, the writer, and let me speak into the camera very clearly, the writer Jeb Stewart said Die Hard is 100% a Christmas movie. So this is coming from the guy who created the movie. It is a Christmas movie. And so we can end all the debate right there. And it's kind of funny, like he actually talked about the impetus and how it came about. And it's kind of crazy. Like, I guess he got into a fight with his wife and he was speeding down the highway and, you know, this weird stuff happens and like a cardboard box of had fallen off the back of some truck and it was empty, but it went over his windshield and like he pulled off the road and he was fine. But he had this kind of life flashing before his eyes moment. And I guess that's where the idea for the movie came from, was this guy had a fight with his wife. He, goes out on and has to go through this whole journey. And it's a very weird connection.
Yep.
But that was kind of where it came from. And so, but 100% Christmas movie. There's no arguing with the writer.
No.
Sorry, as a writer myself, there's no arguing with the writer.
And honestly, the holiday was what brought them together. The holiday was a focus on it. Even some of the references, there were comments that were made with Christmas involved. And I think it's a great film. There is a little bit of language and it's adult material and stuff. You got to make sure your nose isn't all full covered in snow. There are things that you don't let your kiddies watch it, but that idea that they broke up the relationship and he's going to see her, and there's that question about whether he's even willing to fight to bring the relationship back together, and he fights his way through a building to save her, and then they come back together and be a couple. And of course, that is where I feel like Die Hard with a Vengeance, as much as I love that film, it deviated with me because I really feel like he would never have left his wife after the events of the first two movies, because I think they really reconciled in those first two films, and I did not like the fact that they got mad and he just never recalled her back. That drives me nuts, because it completely goes against the character of the two individuals. Although I love Samuel L. Jackson's what was it? Involvement.
I gotta rewatch that because I wonder if it holds up. I'm thinking about Die Hard, the first one. I'm sure there's a couple. I mean, look, how old is that movie now? It's gotta be.
It's in
35.
the 80s, yeah.
And I mean, Nakatomi Plaza, The Driver. I don't the random German guys, the brothers that are there,
Hans Gruber.
Hans Gruber. Is there anything I don't think there's anything too offensive in there, right?
There's drug use. There was there is some sexual content in the film you have to be very careful about. You may not have seen it when you first Lots of language. I mean, that's the thing you always have to watch out for.
Well, I'm thinking.
Oh, you're talking about like offensive as in
some
like
movies,
racist or something. Yeah.
Yeah, you watch some movies now and you're like, whoa. I'm trying to think if there's anything really bad in there. There's a moment I think with that really jerk reporter who, remember, he tries to interview the kids. He goes to the house and he says something like, "I'm gonna call INS on you" or whatever. A little aggressive. That's kind of a rough moment.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, it holds up mostly.
Yeah, I mean, like you had mostly European like villains. They did have a little bit more of a mix within the group.
You got the guy from Walker, Texas Rangers.
Which he recently just passed away.
No.
Yep.
Oh, I loved that guy. I remember as a kid, I used to wake up and Walker, Texas Ranger was one of those shows. You know, those shows always play off at 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning when you wake up, and they're just always on. Now, when I come home, I don't have cable, but we have like a certain like Samsung TV, like they have the channels. MacGyver's always on, and there's either MacGyver or something else. But Walker was always the show that was on in the morning when I'd get up for like to go like high school or middle school or whatever, and it was one of those like most ridiculously random shows. And that guy was he's like his sidekick.
That's how I kind of got stuck into Gilligan's Island. Was the same thing because it's like it's on early enough, you remember it.
You're just like, why not? You know what? It's good enough. I'll watch it. Chuck Norris. What I forgot. I don't know the guy's name, but that sucks. I didn't know he passed away.
Yep. So those are the things. Again, remember, if you're interested in posting your argument for the best holiday film, go to make sure whatever TikTok video or Instagram video or reel, I guess, that you do, use hashtag nerdy holiday battle. I'm sorry, nerd holiday battle. I wanted to put nerdy in there, but I decided not to. So hashtag nerd holiday battle for your chance. We'll be posting on our Instagram a poll starting on the 20th of movies that were the most recommended or the most argued for, and then we will announce on our show on the eve of Christmas Eve, the 23rd, the results, and we'll crown a winner, and then we will find someone that we can give something away to. We'll probably announce it on, I guess, on Christmas Day or something. We'll figure it out by then.
We love giveables, so
yeah, we do.
Participate, get involved. We love it. It's also 5 days from my birthday's on the 28th, so we will be extra generous with our giveaway. Little birthday Christmas miracle for someone out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So just to kind of like I'm gonna shotgun or rapid fire a couple things here real quick. Since we were here last on Thanksgiving, we had before Thanksgiving, the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special hit on Disney Plus, which is a phenomenal thing. It gave us a couple little insights regarding what's going on with the Guardians. We also had last week the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. The first trailer was released. We also got a statement from Kevin Feige. I told you rapid fire. Then we can talk about whatever we want. Then there was I guess a comment that was released by Kevin Feige that they are listening to the fans and they are looking at slowing down the pace of releases for Marvel Studios content. They've heard how kind of story wise. And like with like the CGI and things like that, that people have kind of voiced their opinions, and I believe they're listening to the positive fans that have made good arguments toward those things. I feel like people that talk about how things are in shambles and stuff like that, they're not getting listened to. They're you have to understand something. You can critique something you love in a positive way that doesn't just bait for people to click and respond to you, and you're listened to. And that's what I think is most important. There needs to be a proper response when we critique things that we love. Like I can tell you right now, I loved Moon Knight, but it was obvious that they were running out of budget when it came to that last transformation after Stephen Grant, Mark came back to life after being at the Field of Reeds. So like there are things that are definitely, they can be pointed out and they can be corrected, but so they are listening to people, and it looks like they're going to slow things down, much to my chagrin, because I feel like if there's not a Marvel property being released, I don't have much to live for. and that's just how I
Really?
am.
I felt like, I mean, I think like it hit me prior to this, but I think it also hit me with the launch or the release of the trailer for Guardians Volume 3, and I was like, I need I need a minute. It just felt like, I guess, it's Thanksgiving, so I guess we had a little bit of a break, but it has felt like a busy, a lot. We've gotten a mixed bag, got a lot of stuff, a lot of really good stuff, a lot of great stuff. Hopefully, more to come. And I don't mind spacing it out, especially with all the stuff that we're here to, is coming down the pike. And I think, with Ant-Man, we are really, I think people are going to be shocked. I think there's going to be a lot of craziness. And again, I know nothing, so I'm not spoiling anything, but I think we're all going to kind of be like, Ant-Man, I think, is going to a little bit change the course direction of what's going on. And I think there's going to be some crazy stuff that happens in there. Just a hunch with Kang coming.
Yep.
So I think we're all going to need a minute after that one, depending on what happens. And we know it's not like Kang's one and done. So there's going to be some bad stuff there.
And as vicious as the Kang looks like in Quantumania, that might not even be the one that's the worst. And I think people need to realize that there are so many different versions of Kang.
Two, at least 2 or more. And so, it's going to be. We're going to need a little time to digest this stuff. I think that's what I think we had. How much time do we have after No Way Home? I mean, that was the beauty of No Way Home, was like, it was nice to kind of sit. I saw it 3 times, sit with my thoughts, sit with this like incredible movie I just witnessed, and kind of digest everything, go through everything, see all the details. And then there were some moments where it was like movie after movie, like a couple weeks later, and I was like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah, well, you had No Way Home that came out in December, and then I believe it was March when we got Moon Knight, and then it was May for Multiverse of Madness. You then had Miss Marvel coming out in like June. You had Love and Thunder in July, and then like August, September we got She-Hulk. But then on top of that, we got the Groot, those little Groot little mini episodes you didn't like.
We also had not the same galaxy, but similar. Well, we did see Mustafar and What If. We had Obi-Wan in July as well, concurrent with Miss Marvel, and so that was just a lot. And I thought they both were great and excellent in their own rights, but it was just like so much, and we're like, it's a lot. It's a lot to handle. So I think it would be nice to space them out, give us a couple weeks to a couple months in between to kind of like.
I'm sorry. I'm going to just say it this way. I'll take whatever Marvel dishes out, because at this point, if someone calls me a shill, I'll just be like, thank you. I appreciate that. But honestly, like, I remember the pandemic. I remember the lack, the dryness of no Marvel content. We had we lost Iron Man. We lost our Captain America. Well, we got a new Captain America, but we had to wait until really he really took that mantle in 2021. We lost our Steve, yes, because let me tell you something. I am super excited about Sam Wilson taking on the mantle. And
the leader. No, I mean, New World Order is going to be great. I'm excited about that. I think that's going to be an epic film. Which again, that's a couple years off down the road.
It was funny though, because I know a lot of people were concerned about the name of the title and everything else, and then there being this possibility of them looking for like the blood of like the Hulk or whatnot or whatever. I love how She-Hulk just kind of canceled that out by just like talking about how ridiculous that was in the first place. And with that finale, it made it worthwhile. It was almost like we hear you guys, we're not going that route. I think they still have a big.
Well, that is, I mean, and you mentioned before again, constructive criticism, right? Yep. I think you can still be a fan. I think that's a lost art these days, right? I think there's so much toxicity out there and so much like white noise. And I have noticed. I will say, look, I've been off TikTok for a couple of weeks. I've been off social. I've been kind of taking. I've been really fully investing in this holiday break, but I will say, and taking time and relaxing, but I will say, like, before that and even now, I've seen less trolling on most of my posts, and I don't know if that's part of the algorithm. I don't want to give benefit of the doubt to other places, and I have seen less and less, so maybe there is something working, hopefully, that way, but you know, with all the toxicity out there, with all the stuff out there, there's so much white noise and there's so much noise and just like chatter. It is nice to know that they're listening to, and certain people out there are great at this. Like Mark Hamill is a great person who engages with his fans, and is just like very like loves to go back and forth with the true people that actually have an opinion. You can tell that they're fans and they're not just. But I find myself like, you know, trying to be. You want to be as not like the negative people and the nasty people out there that I tend to be. Sometimes I'll be like, I don't want to say a shill, but I'll be like, oh, it's great. That's all. And my lexicon ends up being like these just platitude positivities. And it's a lost art to actually come, you know, with an empathetic, constructive thought process and say, hey, I loved this, but I didn't, you know, this was lacking, or this was whatever, or I would like to see this in the future. Or, I mean, I think we can all agree. I think Scar's hair and like, is it, you know, that things like that where you can be like, hey, it's a little whatever. I hope they adjust it and update it and make it better and whatever, instead of just being like one side or the other. Like, oh, it's in shambles. This is the biggest piece of garbage I've ever, you know, or it's the greatest thing ever. You know, it is nice of a middle ground. And so I do hope that that's where we head with like social media and other platforms, and we see really cool, constructive, thought-provoking conversations, because that's how people are going to grow and learn, and that's where the magic happens. And that Kevin Feige's paying attention is friggin' epic.
Yeah. Now I will say this, just kind of like kind of going off topic from what you were just saying. You just made me think of something. If you're noticing your trolls are not engaging as much, this is going to sound really weird, but I've done this in the past. Reach out to your trolls and make sure they're okay. I don't mean that to be funny, but you don't realize a lot of times the trolls that the people who comment and are negative on your page and are often consistently negative on your page, like they're always calling you out or calling you ignorant, or they're saying what you don't know. They're usually coming from a direction where they're hurting. And if they fall off, you have to be worried. Like, I will tell you right now, there are a number of people that are strong supporters of mine who will actually fight for me in my comments, who used to be my trolls. And it was because at some point I reached out and said, hey, are you okay? Is everything all right? Like, why are you so adamant to this? And like, you know, when you realize like, hey, you know, honestly, like, you know, racism and stuff like that, you know, aside, that stuff should never be acceptable, and I'll never understand that or, you know, forgive that. But there are people who will come at you and they'll call you names that, like, they're my supporters now because I made sure they were okay. And so I would just say, if you haven't seen somebody that's kind of like annoyed you or bothered you for a while, just check on them, or at least make sure they're still active, because maybe they just got tired of you being positive or whatnot. But it's a hard season for everybody, and you know, I know that content creators are struggling. You know, just it's something where, you know, we even talked about this in our meeting today, where it's like, you know, there's this stagnation that happens because you just get in a funk because of everything that's happening in life.
I will say, I wanted the last thing, I want to piggyback off that in almost like a final thoughts thing. And I felt it. I've been off it for a while, really just kind of listening to myself and not forcing myself to go and like feel like I have to create content, and just take some time off. Like, I will, you know, welcome, like, and again, like, not saying that like, oh, everyone cares about what I'm doing, but I'm just so like people understand that it is okay to step away. And I've noticed, and again, you know, it's the holiday, there's holiday cheer and there's holiday blues and stuff like that. And I've noticed more so than not, at least a handful of times, you know, friends of ours, colleagues of ours who, you know, have gone through rough patches. I just want people to know, like, you're 100%, 150% not alone if like you're having a tough time, or no matter what, if it's content, social media, whatever you're doing, whatever, and you're having a tough time, just know you're not alone in the slightest at all, like at all. And we all go through it, and we all should be there to support each other and do what we can to help. And I just, this is one of the times that like you're aware that everyone's kind of going through different things and we all kind of have similar whatever. But it's funny, I've just been kind of like in a lull and kind of just being like, all right, cool, I'm going to just continue to recuperate and re-energize and recharge. But I've noticed it with other people too, and so it's one of those few times where I've been in unison with other people kind of going through a similar situation. And so it really kind of opened your eyes to like, everyone out there, please know, like, we're all going through it. We're all going to go through these little slumps up and down, no matter what it includes. And it's just being human and being passionate and caring and also being humble. And so that's what it is. So I just wanted to say that that's a big thing.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's the most important thing. If you're just coming into like, let's say you're watching this episode or you're just getting into Nerd Initiative and watching the content, one of the things that Michael and I have always focused on is the individuals, and we love our creators. We love the people that have helped make us and bring us to the point of where we are, because this is not the Michael and Tony show. Well, this one is, but the Nerd Initiative itself is very much, a group of great individuals, people that are in the chat right now, are fantastic article writers and segment producers and video editor. We would not at all be able to accomplish what we have without everyone doing what they're doing and being the rock stars that they are. But at the same time, it's also those of you who are consuming this content. And listen, if you're thinking nobody cares about what I have to say, or there's no place for me, there is, and it's here. And one of the things that you contribute by promoting and sharing us and listening and participating, that means the world to us. That helps us, but that at the same time, I hope that helps you. And you always have a safe space. And if you're ever interested, messaging us on our TikTok account, our Instagram, shooting going into the Nerd Initiative website and filling out that form, and just whatever, we're here for you. And we want to make content that is something that you want, but at the same time, we want to be able to support you and to show you that you matter. And so we listen, and feel free to reach out to any of us, either on our personal accounts or with Nerd Initiative, and just know you're not alone.
Yeah. And that's why one of my favorite things about this show that we've done in the past, and we'll continue in the future, is like those closing credits of other people's stories. Like, that's why I love those things so much, because again, it just shows, the more you see those, one, you realize how similar there's always the common thread with all of our stories of how we got to like whatever it is. It can be anything. And then you also realize like, just, how we're all just fans of something, and it's just cool. And the more we, again, just support each other and not, bash each other and like that, the better off we will be. And so, I love that.
Yeah. And those will be coming back soon. I was able to figure out the issue that I was having with generating the credits. So, we'll start working on those again. But with that said, Michael, is there anything else you want to touch on before we go?
No, I think that's it. I want everyone to have a great, we're going to be back before the holiday, but have a great holiday month. And, again, to what, me and Tony basically share the same brain. So, everything he said, like, everyone out there, and everyone that works with us and collaborates with us, and you guys make this what it is, and that's why we're so passionate about everyone that, this little cool little world and ecosystem we've built, and continue to work on wouldn't be without everyone else. So, I just want everyone to have, take some time, relax, take a break, and just, if you need anything, reach out to us, no matter what. Basically, pointed the wrong way. Basically what he said. There we go. Yeah.
All right, and so with that, just one thing I want to just point out. So if you're not aware, if you're like me and you don't like watching movies alone, this month I have teamed up with StreamLounge.io, and we are doing a Christmas holiday watch party. And so we will be resuming tomorrow on the 10th. At 11:05 p.m. Eastern Time, 8:05 p.m. Pacific Time, and whatever in between. We're going to be watching Christmas Chronicles. We've got things that we've still got Home Alone 2. We've got the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. We're going to be watching the entire first season of Hawkeye. Bunch of stuff like that. And so would love to have you guys. That is streamlounge.io/Mr. Marvelite. And then during the watch parties, I am posting a link to a giveaway that is hosted on the Nerd Initiative website. You do the different things to gain extra entries, and you can win a bunch of cool stuff, including but not limited to GLD pendants. You can get a piece of Xandar currency that I got from Disney World, which I'm in love with this thing. Something that I found out that you cannot get at Disney World, which is Zarg nuts. Drax's preferred treat of choice. So if you want some Zarg nuts, you're going to want to enter in, along with a Toy Story box set, Stranger Things LP, a Funko Pop, and a couple custom pieces of art that I've made. But all of those things are available.
Yeah, that's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to throw stuff in there. But yeah, we'll be making more content. Again, if there's anything that you want us to cover, go ahead and post it in the comments, as well as you can do our form on Nerd Initiative, or just tag us in a question. We'd love to respond to some stuff on TikTok. So just tag Nerd Initiative, and we'll make sure that our team gets it to us so that we can add it to the show. But yeah, Michael, thank you as always.
No, thank you.
All right. And everyone, you have a wonderful night. We will catch you on the 23rd of December.